Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Checks and Balances TV. Today's program is entitled Give Thanks by fully insuring your health for the long term. So let's see how today's news may impact your financial future. Budget cuts to Medicare and Medicaid have been discussed recently by the Congressional Supercommittee as part of a new deficit reduction plan leading up to today's deadline. But one key health care initiative called the Community Living Assistance Services and Supports Act, or CLASS Act, was tabled even before it had a chance to go into effect. The program would have provided millions of Americans with a public long-term care insurance option. Now those individuals who were looking forward to utilizing this important benefit to help care for loved ones will have to find other ways to pay for the rising costs of long-term care. Okay, what's really going on here? Let's check the facts using our checks and balances process. The Community Living Assistance Services and Supports Act, also known as the CLASS Act, was the vision of the late Massachusetts Senator Edward Ted Kennedy. The CLASS Act was designed to create a voluntary government-run plan for long-term care insurance. It would have allowed Americans to buy long-term care insurance through payroll deduction and receive cash payments if they were later disabled, regardless of their age or a pre-existing health condition. The Department of Health and Human Services had planned to implement the provisions of the program, including offering this coverage on a guaranteed issue basis. However, Health and Human Services Secretary Kathleen Sebelius announced on October 14th that the Obama administration would not be able to implement the CLASS Act because it was not financially feasible under current economic conditions. Sebelius noted in a letter to Congress that the Congressional Budget Office had carefully analyzed the CLASS Act and provided public estimates of how it would work, along with its effects on the federal budget. She was then tasked with developing a plan that would be financially sustainable for at least 75 years. But unfortunately, she could not find a way to make that happen. After 19 months of analysis by experts inside and outside the government, it was determined that the Department of Health and Human Services would suspend the program. Sebelius, however, warned that an estimated 15 million Americans will require some kind of long-term care by 2020, and less than 3% are currently covered under a long-term care insurance policy. Okay, so now that we've checked the facts, let's balance this news using our checks and balances process to determine what action you should take today. November is National Long-Term Care Awareness Month, which serves as an annual reminder of how important this type of insurance is for all Americans. Unfortunately, many people mistakenly believe that their employer's health insurance plan or Medicare, if they're retired, will cover these expenses. Not true. Medicare Part A does cover up to 100 days of care in a skilled nursing facility, but beyond that, it's at your expense. And Americans who reach age 65 today have a 40% chance of entering a nursing home and a 10% chance of remaining there for 5 years or more, according to the Department of Health and Human Services. That means there's a very good chance that you or one of your family members will require some form of long-term care in the future. The rising costs associated with health care and long-term care is a growing problem in this country and becoming more difficult for most Americans to afford. The median room rate for a private nursing home rose 29% between 2005 and 2011, from an average of $60,000 to almost $78,000 per year, according to the Genworth 2011 Cost of Care Survey. Genworth has conducted this survey for 8 years now with the help of over 15,000 long-term care providers nationwide. In addition to the high cost of long-term care, Genworth also found that the average national median cost of licensed home health care services, which provide hands-on personal care, including bathing and dressing, is now $19 per hour. Okay, so what's the bottom line here? Thanksgiving Day is tomorrow, and it's a time to reflect on everything we're truly thankful for, including our family and our health. These two go hand in hand when discussing long-term care. So take this time to appreciate what you have today while still keeping an eye out on the future. 3/4 of Americans have never had a conversation about long-term care with their loved ones, according to the 2011 Financial Reality Check study conducted by Genworth. The study concluded that 70% of people would not know what to do if a family member required immediate long-term care assistance. So don't wait. It's never too early to start talking with your family about long-term care and planning ahead for their well-being as well as yours. There is another reason for retirees to give thanks this year. In a previous CBTV show, we reported on an expected increase in Medicare Part B premiums and how that would affect the cost of living adjustment, or COLA, for Social Security beneficiaries in 2012. At the time of the show's production, we had anticipated there would be an increase in Medicare Part B premiums that would prevent many retirees from seeing a significant increase in their monthly Social Security checks. However, the increase in Medicare Part B premiums was officially announced a few days after we filmed the show, and it turned out to be a much smaller than projected estimate at just $3.50 per month for most retirees. Therefore, many will see a net increase of approximately $39.50 per month in Social Security benefits, thanks to our federal government. And now for Matt's weekly financial tip, tool, or technique. Long-term care insurance is an important benefit you simply can't afford to be without today. The odds are very high that you or a family member will require some type of long-term care in the future. So here are 4 important steps to take when planning how you will cover these long-term care expenses. Step number 1, educate yourself on long-term care coverage. There are a number of different ways to cover the cost of long-term care today. Of course, there is the traditional long-term care insurance policy, which requires an annual premium payment to keep the policy in force. But there are now hybrid long-term care riders that may be attached to a life insurance policy or annuity policy. Each of these options are worth looking into. Step number 2, find out the cost of care in your state. Websites such as longtermcare.gov and genworth.com have interactive maps that allow you to find out how much long-term care services cost in your particular state. They will give you an idea of the cost for in-home care, assisted living, adult daycare, and nursing home care. Step 3, calculate how much you will need to save. There are online calculators available today that can tell you how much money you will need to have for long-term care based on your age, where you plan to retire, the amount you plan to set aside, and the annual rate of return you expect to receive on your monthly savings. And then step 4, research facilities near your home. After shopping around for the best long-term care coverage you can find, get out and visit the nursing homes and assisted living facilities in your area to find out what services they have to offer. Also, get to know the staff and be sure you feel the love. You want to see and feel the love and know that they truly care for the residents who live there and the ones that they take care of. Planning ahead for long-term care is the only way to prepare yourself and family for unforeseen health concerns. And to be truly prepared, you should work with a qualified long-term care specialist. Find a financial advisor who specializes in long-term care coverage. You'll be amazed at all of the options available today, some of which don't require you to pay an annual premium for a traditional long-term care policy. So find a specialist to work with. Be sure to log on to our website and download our featured report, Financial Freedom Personal Checkup, a free report that guides you through the checks and balances financial decision-making system to help you make confident, informed decisions about money and life. And finally, remember that only you can control your financial future. You can succeed. You just need confidence and determination. I'm Matthew J. Reddick from Checks and Balances TV. Until next week, dump debt, invest wisely, believe in yourself, and make it happen.